Good morning. Morgen. Ni hao. We're going to learn a few languages here today. So welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Vanessa Ibarra, not Ibarra, not Ibarra, Vanessa Ibarra, and I'm the Executive Director for the Mayor's Office of International and Immigrant Affairs. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all here today. Para las personas que necesitan interpretación, levanten la mano. Tenemos una persona que nos está ayudando. Se llama Daniela. Daniela, si puedes decir hola. We have an interpreter with us here today who will be translating in Spanish for all those that may need it. So, welcome. And to the first Doing Business with the City Atlanta event. And notice that I say first because the plan is for us to do this on a quarterly basis. So, if your family, colleagues, friends were unable to make this one, please know that we are working on finalizing the date for the next one. And the reason why we're able to do this is, of course, because of my team. My team, if you're around, if you can please raise your hand. Thank you all. As well as the incredible partnerships that we have with the various departments, including, of course, the Procurement Department with Jaideep and his team. You'll be hearing from him shortly. Invest Atlanta, the big partnership, to name a few. Again, as this is quarterly, we're going to have different speakers that will be coming and talking about how to do business with the city. Now I'm going to put my Delta voice on. In the event that you're interested in going to the restroom, you will go to the first floor. You will have access to the men and the women's bathrooms. You have to take the elevator, go to the first floor. In case of an emergency, you will exit through the door that you came in and also the stairway that is here. Now that we have that covered, I want to give the opportunity to thank somebody that has made this possible. And that is the 61st Mayor of the City of Atlanta, Mayor Andre Dickens. Unfortunately, he could not join us here today in person, but he did send a video greeting for you all.
Hello, I'm Mayor Andre Dickens. I'm pleased to welcome you to the first edition of Doing Business with the City of Atlanta. This workshop is presented by the Office of International and Immigrant Affairs, the Atlanta Department of Procurement, Invest Atlanta, and the Big Partnership. My administration firmly believes that inclusion and equity strengthen our communities. This program will offer small business owners interested in doing business with the City of Atlanta the opportunity for direct engagement with city officials. We are working to reinforce Atlanta's economy and workforce by empowering our minority-owned businesses and immigrant entrepreneurs. We are proud to be a welcoming city and want to ensure that all Atlantans share in our city's continued growth and prosperity. Thank you for being here with us today, and I hope we can get the chance to do some work together.
Thank you, Mayor. If we can please give him another round of applause. I also want to thank some of the folks that have provided food here today. Lota Fruta, hi Myrna if you're here, and Momo Noki. Because when we're thinking about international and immigrant affairs, we also have to, of course, represent the food. And so if at any point in time you would like to get some refreshments and some food, please feel free to do so. You will also see on each of your tables various notepads. We want to hear from you, okay? We want to get your thoughts on this event. We want to hear about your needs and what it is that the City of Atlanta can do to make it easier for you all to do business with the City of Atlanta. Now, I would like to welcome to the floor our very first speaker, Chief Procurement Officer Jaideep Majumdar, Self-proclaimed women and minority business champion, has 25 years of global experience in procurement and supply-based strategy. He has previously led and managed medium and large global procurement organizations, including GE, Delta, and Capgemini. He has been with the city for a little over a year and has helped usher in a new era of accessibility to eligible companies who seek to do business with the city of Atlanta in order to continue to move Atlanta forward. With that, Jaideep, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vanessa, for the introduction. Again, my name is Jaideep Majumdar. I'm the Chief Procurement Officer for City of Atlanta, and my team manages all the aspects of procurement that goes within the City of Atlanta. I also want to thank Vanessa and her team for putting this together. The Mayor's Office of International and Immigrant Affairs have done a fantastic job. This is the first one, like she said, and we want to continue engaging with you on a periodic basis going forward. So having said that, let me give a little bit introduction of who I am, where I come from, and what is my vision for City of Atlanta and the procurement department in its general. So my name is, like I said, Jaideep Majumdar, and if you would have guessed, does anyone know what my heritage is or what my background is?
I'm from the same place, West Bengal, Bangladesh.
There you go. Not quite West Bengal, but I am from Delhi. My parents are from India. I was born and brought up in Delhi. And then my parents migrated, I migrated, I did my bachelor's in engineering, I have a master's in mechanical engineering. I worked for companies like GE, Auto Industries, Capgemini, Delta Airlines, workforce solution companies. So in general, I have more than 25 years of supply chain procurement background. And it is such a pleasure to see everyone in this room and welcome you from all different parts of the globe to be together to share our vision of moving Atlanta forward. So when we talk about moving Atlanta forward, our vision is to make sure we have one safe city. We want to make sure that the city that we live, that we support, that we work for, is a safe city. We also want to make sure that we have opportunity for all for the city. And when I talk about city, this is a global city. Everyone in this room has different heritage. And it is such a proud moment to be standing in front of you and represent a global city. The other piece is we want to make sure that when we talk about moving Atlanta forward, we want to build a city for the future. We want to make sure that we are progressive in our thinking. We are doing things that will take us to the next level. We want to make sure that we are ethical and very effective in the way we conduct business. So this forum that we have is all about connecting, building, fostering relationship with everyone in this room, the community in general, and the supply base. That will help us grow together. And when the mayor mentioned about let's do business together, it's about connecting, building, fostering, and growing together. Let's make sure we grow in this community. We grow the city of Atlanta, make sure that we create an equitable and inclusive place for us to do business and for you to do business with City of Atlanta. Now, one of the things that when I joined City of Atlanta, I wanted to make sure that there are three things that I focus. And that has become our vision statement for Department of Procurement. If you take a look at the Department of Procurement logo, it says excellence in value creation through partnership, collaboration, and innovation. So you need to establish a good partnership so that you can collaborate, and that will result to innovate. If you cannot collaborate, you cannot innovate. So the vision statement is all about creating value creation for the residents, the businesses, and the supplier community in general. Now, having said that, the three visions three goals that I have is, A, I want to make sure we have a competitive, fair, and transparent process in how we procure things for City of Atlanta. B, I want to make sure that we have a process that's equitable, fair, and inclusive. Your voice matters. We want to hear from you. We want to learn from you. And hopefully, you will be able to learn from us. So it's more of a collaboration, more of a partnership of how we drive that forward. And the third piece, which I'm very passionate about, is giving opportunity to small businesses, minority businesses, and diverse businesses. We want to make sure that we are able to create platform for every one of you to thrive. Small businesses, minority, woman-owned, diverse businesses, please do let us know if you fall in those categories. We will work with you. We will make sure that our Department of Procurement team is there to talk about opportunities or even talk about growth plans with the City of Atlanta. So having said that, we have a presentation on Department of Procurement of how to do business with City of Atlanta. The first and foremost that we did was we created a HubSpot, a website that is a HubSpot for the suppliers. In other words, all the supply-related information, all the information that you need to do business with City of Atlanta is on that website. That website address is atlsupplies.com. It houses information. It has information of supplier registration, supplier certification, bids that are out for bid, the closed bids, current bids, active bids, and proposed bids. It has links to Invest Atlanta. It has links to Atlanta ATL Next, which is Atlanta Airport, and so on. So it's a great place to go and start surfing the website, atlsupplies.com, to look for opportunities. So having said that, I am now going to hand it over to Kevin Floyd, who is the Deputy Chief Procurement Officer for City of Atlanta. He can walk you through all the things of doing business with City of Atlanta, the do's and don'ts also, and more importantly, it's about how we can create that partnership so that we can collaborate and collectively innovate going forward. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Kevin, and collectively, we are going to move Atlanta forward. And moving Atlanta forward means creating a safe city, creating opportunities for all, building a city for the future, and ethical and effective government. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Jadeep, and thank you so much to our partners in the Mayor's Office for inviting us to spend a little bit of time together this morning. As mentioned, I am Kevin Floyd. I have the great privilege of serving as one of the Deputy Chief Procurement Officers for the City of Atlanta, and it's always such an honor to get to spend any time with our supplier community. Before I jump in, I'd like to get to know the room a little bit. So if you are a current registered supplier with the city, would you raise your hand? Okay. And if you have done business with the city at any point in the past, could you raise your hand? All right, well, we're definitely going to change both of those statistics here in this meeting today. So one thing I'll say is it is now a requirement to do business with the city that you have to be registered. So I'll talk a little bit about that process and some resources that we have for you. If you go to the next slide, please. All right, so I'm going to share some of the updates from the department. So since Jadeep came on as Chief Procurement Officer, we've been on a transformation journey. So I'm going to share a bit of updates on what changes we've made to the procurement process, some changes to the contracting process, some do's and don'ts when you're trying to do business with the city, some tips to help you avoid being deemed non-responsive. So we want everybody that wants to do business to be successful proponents. So talk about some tips and tricks for that, and then some of the wealth of resources that we offer suppliers. Next slide. So Jadeep stole my thunder a little bit on atlsuppliers.com, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about that, but it is an incredible resource. I highly encourage everyone to check it out. We have training videos, documents, all the procurements that we're working on, the city's terms, links to a bunch of our partners that we work with, so it's just a fantastic opportunity. There's a QR code at the end of the presentation that will take you directly to it, and we also have some business cards at the table in the back with the code on it as well. He also mentioned our vision statement that we developed. So we've come up with branding, a vision statement, and goals. And the big intent was for that is so everything that we push out has the procurement look and feel to it, so that we have the confidence and you all have the confidence it's coming from the City of Atlanta's procurement department. So everything that you see now is going to have our logo on it, it's going to have our vision statement on it, it's going to be branded so that you know it is authentic and it is from us. We have recently, as of January, restructured to a best-in-class category management procurement model, so that's brand new for the city. For us, been a pretty substantial change, and so I'll talk about the category structure here in a minute, but that's a massive shift in the way that we've been organized. And then we rolled out on social media. So we are on all of the major social media platforms. You can follow us at ATL Procurement. We post every opportunity that goes out. We post bid tabulations. We post information like what I'm talking about here and all the events. So it's a great way to stay connected with us. Next slide. We've also, on the procurement proper side of the house, we've revised the instructions and information that we provide in solicitations. One of the biggest things I've heard from vendors throughout my career with the city is sometimes certain things read a little bit more like legalese. It's a little too complex. There's repetitive information. So we streamlined it, tried to make it as accessible and easy and user-friendly as possible. So you'll notice that. Did the same thing for our required forms. So every package we put out has a list of required forms you have to submit. We heard the instructions on those could be a little bit confusing. There's some duplicative information, so we've streamlined all the forms as well and continue to work to make them electronic, faster, and easier to use. We updated every single form and template that the department uses. And if you know nothing else about procurement, there is a substantial amount of paperwork involved. So that's quite a few templates that we updated, but all in the mind of getting that look and feel, getting that streamlined, standardized language, and making it as accessible and easy as it is, as we could for the supplier community. And then we've launched our first ever monthly supplier newsletter, which we send out to every registered supplier. So another benefit of being registered, in addition to getting to do business with the city, is you get our newsletter. And so we post all kind of information, all of our bids, little games and fun things that are interactive. So it's a fantastic resource that we put out. Next slide. So I talked a little bit about the restructure of the organization. So this is a high-level overview of how we're structured. So there are 6 categories: construction, professional services, constituent services, industrial fleet, corporate services, and enterprise and facilities management. And then I have the distinct privilege of overseeing what is the Center of Excellence, which handles all of the non-procurement day-to-day operations of the department. And currently, we are operating with 2 DCPOs, so I also oversee 2 of the categories. So if you're wondering why I have a little gray hair in my beard, that is why. Next slide. So on the contracting side, one of the lengthiest processes in the procurement process is contracting. And so we looked at how can we streamline that, make it faster and easier. And so we've started this new process that has been very, very successful in reducing the cycle times, is that we release the contract upfront with the solicitation package. So as you're reviewing the bids, you actually have all of the contract information there. We list out the standard terms and our non-negotiable items, and then give you the opportunity with your response to say, here's the items that are non-negotiable for us, or some red lines that we would want to make. So we're doing that on the front end instead of going all the way through the process and then spending 3-4 months on the back end trying to negotiate a contract. So we ask you to accept the terms, list any of your deal breaker items in your response. And just a note, failure to accept the city's terms, or if you make significant red lines to an agreement, could result in you being deemed non-responsive or receiving a lower score on your response. Next slide. So do's and don'ts. These are just some things as we've talked to vendors and done training, some things that we find common omissions or mistakes that folks use that we find helpful to share. So when you're completing a solicitation, especially if it's your first time or you're new to it, we provide a submittal checklist, just says here's all the forms that are required as part of your response. It's a great tool. You can go down and as you complete a form, check it off the list to make sure that you don't miss anything. Number one reason why a supplier gets kicked out of the process is they leave something off a form or leave a form out altogether. So this is a great tool to make sure that you capture everything. If you're submitting as a joint venture, so you've partnered with another company, formed a joint venture, and you're responding as that joint venture, you have to submit 3 forms. One as the joint venture entity, and then 1 form for each entity that comprises the joint venture. For every project we do, we host pre-bid conferences. They are all virtual and done either on Zoom or Teams, but they're a fantastic resource for learning about the project, asking questions, and then networking with other suppliers. We have a very diverse pool of suppliers that attend those, large companies, small companies. So it's a great way to meet people, interact, and network. It's not required that you attend, but I always encourage folks, please do so. It's a fantastic opportunity to get to know the city, get to know the procurement process, get to know the vendor community. And then I touched on this a little bit, but when you're responding, please, please, please make sure you go through them and have all the documentation. Every form requested, a lot of forms require notaries and signatures, so you want to make sure that you get everything signed, notarized. If you leave anything out, it substantially increases the likelihood that you get deemed non-responsive. And some don'ts, don't wait. The biggest thing that I see is companies will wait until 2 or 3 days or even the day of to submit a proposal to the city. That is not enough time to give yourselves. And I've lost count of the number of companies that have called me 2 hours before a bid closes and said, hey, we're struggling, can you please extend the bid? No, I'm not the person to call for that for one, but I don't have the power to just give you more time. So please, please don't wait to the last minute. A lot of people think, oh, it's a e-procurement system. I can get in there, navigate through it pretty easily. It turns out to be a little more cumbersome than maybe some folks expected. So at least 2-3 days before, submit your proposal. And you can start the minute it advertises. So you have everything stays out for at least 2 weeks. So you have a minimum of 2 weeks that you can work on this in the system before you submit it. So use all of the time that you have. And don't forget to have a team review it. Always say 4 eyes are better than 2. Let somebody else take a look at your proposal before you submit it. Make sure that maybe they catch something that you might have missed. Always better to have somebody double check so when you hit that submit button, you have some confidence that everything is included. We also have question and answer periods for every bid. So it's another opportunity. You get to ask the city if you want some clarification about a scope of work or have any questions about the proposal. There's a window that you can ask questions of, and then we will answer through a addenda process. So please take advantage of that. And do not submit any questions about a solicitation or an active procurement to anyone except the assigned procurement professional. So every project has a assigned category specialist that is the point of contact for that project and the only person that you should engage in questions with. Next slide. So I've talked a little bit about some things that help you navigate through the process. Here are some more top reasons that we found that people get deemed non-responsive. And it is usually on the required forms. So there, like I said, there's a package of forms you have to fill out, and a lot of times there'll be omissions of information on there. So the Form 1, which is the Illegal Immigration Reform and Enforcement Act, that's a requirement for every single procurement that we do that's in excess of $2,500. And so we ask for your E-Verify number as a company, and a lot of times companies will put their tax ID number. So those are two distinct different numbers. And then we find that folks forget to provide the title of the person that is signing the form. So small things, but can have an impact on your response being considered. Then the Form 2, which is a declaration form, sort of a conflict of interest form, we find a lot of folks leave off information there. So it's yes or no questions. We ask a series of questions if any of these apply to you. If you say yes to any of the questions, you have to provide justification to that. So what we'll find is people will say, yes, this does apply to me, and then they don't provide any backup or justification of that. So if you say yes, please make sure that you also provide the additional information to supplement that. And as I said previously, if you're submitting as a JV, you have to submit the form for the JV and for both entities that comprise the JV. For joint venture teams, we find that they don't sign. There's a joint venture agreement that has to be filled out. We find that that's not signed, and then that they don't provide the 3 copies of the forms requested. And then we ask for Secretary of State authorization docs. That's usually a business license to transact business in the state of Georgia. And so if we ask for that, please make sure that you provide that. Next slide. And then misalignments of dates. So like I said, a lot of forms require a notary to sign. And so I think we all know a notary is attesting that you're signing the form in front of them. So the date that they sign should be the date that you're also signing. But sometimes we see those dates are misaligned. So you want to make sure that when you're signing, the notary is also signing and that those dates match up. Insufficient number of references. So if we ask for a set number of references, like 3 references, please provide 3 references from 3 different sources. And missed due date. I talked about the timeliness. Every solicitation proposal that we put out is always due at 2 o'clock Eastern time, Monday through Friday. We don't do weekend bids, but it's always 2 p.m. regardless of the day. It cannot be submitted after the deadline. It is electronic. At 2 o'clock, the system will shut off your ability to submit. So, like I said, please, days before, but certainly well before 2-3 hours, get in there and submit it so that you know that your response gets submitted. And then lastly is failure to submit all documents. I've talked about this multiple times, but always make sure you go through the submittal checklist and have a peer review all of your documents. Next slide. And then lastly, just wanted to share some of the resources. So talked about atlsuppliers.com. That's the QR code there if you want to scan it with your phone and check it out. We also offer training twice a month to vendors. So the first Wednesday of every month is how to get registered. There are a lot of folks here that aren't registered vendors, so that's probably a fantastic opportunity for you all. Go through the registration process, how to update your profile, all that good stuff. And then on the 3rd Wednesday is actually how to submit a solicitation to the city. So once you get registered and are set up in the system, I would highly encourage everyone to also take the solicitation training, because we walk step by step through a bid and go through all the steps required to do a submittal. And then I talked about social media. There's our handles on some of the various platforms. So please give us a follow so you can stay up to date with all of the information that we have. My fantastic vendor relationship manager, Ms. Jan Rivers, is sitting in the back there. So at the end of this, if you want to stop by and ask any questions, check to see if you have a registration in the system. We can absolutely help that. Grab a card, get the QR code. And then lastly, I will close with just saying I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and we look forward to partnering and doing business with you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. So, who's going to do business with the City of Atlanta? Raise your hand. Who has a lot of questions on how to do business with the City of Atlanta? Please raise your hand. So we're going to save all these questions towards the end prior to the networking session in order to get through all the presentations, but believe that you will have the opportunity to ask your questions. And if we're not able to answer your questions here today, we're happy to respond to those questions later in a later date. So with that, we can talk about the importance of doing business with the City of Atlanta. Is always very important is for us to also provide the opportunity for business that are already doing so to share their stories. And so today you'll have the opportunity of hearing from two businesses. The first one would actually be Jeanette Flores Katz. She was actually part of the Women Expert University program, the very first cohort. And she is an immigrant from El Salvador. Since 1998, absolutely. Since 1998, and after living in San Francisco, Italy, and Miami, she picked Atlanta for the place to live and raise her family and do her business, where she has lived here for 18 years. So with that, I'll give the opportunity to you to come up and share with us your story briefly, as we only have 5 minutes for both of the businesses.
Hi, thank you very much, Vanessa. My name is Jeanette Flores Katz, and I'm the proud owner of Kosher Guacamole, the parent company of La Bodega at the Met and Buenos Dias Cafe. Atlanta is the best city for entrepreneurs to start your business. Definitely, for me, it has been an honor to be here and be supported by the city. From the beginning of my journey as an entrepreneur, I partnered with Invest Atlanta with a loan program to open my business as a restaurant right a few blocks away from here. After opening my business in 2011, a few blocks away from here, like I said, in the middle of Georgia State, I was looking to create more revenue for my business. So I found out that the City of Atlanta has a small program for business, local business, small and big. I got certificate as a vendor to do business with them. As a vendor, I have participated in a variety of special events, catering, and also definitely, as a restaurant, feeding the employees of City Hall or events. Being part of the vendor program has created another stream income for my business and also have increased my network. I have participated in multiple events. As a minority and a woman-owned business, I need all the help I can get to start and scale my business. So I found that the city has also a lot of more programs, and I have participated in many of them. One of them have been the Women Export, which have taught me and helped me to understand the logistics of shipping nationally and internationally. I definitely highlight for all women to participate in the Women Entrepreneur Initiative. Business like ours need always mentors, and we always learn every day something new in order for us to scale and grow. And definitely the network system is unbelievable, so I definitely recommend that. I have one of my partners also in the business program is really good. And the best of it is that I'm in the process of being certified as a woman entrepreneur business owner. Thank you very much. The City of Atlanta definitely is driving forward.
She's amazing. And she did mention the Women Expert University program because I always think it's important to also showcase that while we want to do business, we want you all to do business with the City of Atlanta, we also want to take your business globally. And so we partner with UPS, Invest Atlanta, Metro Chamber, the state, and various other organizations to make that happen. And out of curiosity here, what countries do we have? El Salvador, India, and please feel free to just shout out the country that you represent here today. Colombia? England? Mexico? Nigeria? Taiwan? China? Phenomenal. And I ask this question because I also want you all to network with everybody in this room. And so if there's an interest for you to take your business to a specific country, connect with one another. With that, I would like to now welcome our next speaker, who is also going to provide a testimonial, Subhash Reddy Kushikula. He's a seasoned civil engineer and entrepreneur, currently serving as the president and CEO of 2M Next, a professional engineering consulting firm based in Atlanta, Georgia. He relocated to the United States from India for his studies. He built his professional engineer career, and particularly at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. And over the past 25 years, he has managed large construction, geotechnical, facilities assessment, and pavement management programs associated with the planning, design, and building infrastructure of the city of Atlanta. So with that, I would like to give the floor to Subhash.
I know I got less than 1 minute. So I would like to request to play the video, so that would reduce the speaking time, if it's possible. In less than a minute. So I'm originally from India, just like the CPO of City of Atlanta. I came to United States in the 80s, late 80s, and I had to pick a place to make my home, my work, my life, and I chose Atlanta to be here right at the time. You know, life is all about time. And so I was here right at the onset of the 1996 Olympics. And I had an opportunity to work with a very small firm. And my first job was at the Atlanta airport. So going back to my high school days, in 1970s, when I went to a Catholic school, and we had a class where they used to show a lot of great speeches. And my favorite speech was the I Have a Dream speech. And then in mid-70s, my mom asked me, hey, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go to America. So I didn't know where and what I'm going to do. So I got the opportunity in Atlanta, and when I had an opportunity to start my own firm in 2010, I partnered with one of the best engineers out of Atlanta, my co-founder, Haven Giglider, who built almost 60-70% of Atlanta skyline. So he's not here today, but I want to acknowledge him. I have a lot of things, but I'm going to reduce it. Like the City of Atlanta vision. So our company vision is excellence, integrity, safety, whatever we do, and help the community. So as the CPO said, the City of Atlanta is on to a ATL 2.0, and I want to say that we want to partner with City of Atlanta on a next 2.0. And my parents always said, if you ever make it, pay it forward, you know? So moving forward, on the spirit of moving forward, City of Atlanta, and pay it forward, I think I want to make two pledges today. And one is, I want to offer two $5,000 scholarships to the immigrant and minority community for the summer scholarships. It's going to be, thank you. It's going to be an annual thing because, you know, we've been successful and we want to pay it forward and support the community that is coming into town. The second is, I think 2 days back, I actually looked at a project, and I want to pledge $10,000 to a project. It's called the City of Atlanta Eternal Flame, supporting missing children. So, and lastly, I want to thank City of Atlanta. I am a product of City of Atlanta. Atlanta is where I built my career, and there is no other city to grow better than Atlanta. You know, I'm looking forward to all the future contributions.
Pay it forward. And that is what makes Atlanta the place to do business. Not only are we focused on expertise, talent, vision, but the secret sauce for our city is collaboration. And you see it over and over again. And so thank you for those two pledges. Because also, I'm not sure if all of you know, but this year is the year of the youth. And we are very focused on further engaging our youth for them to have opportunities to education, opportunities to workforce development, but opportunities to hear from folks such as Jeanette, such as Subhash, on what can be done. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Let's give them both another round of applause. Now you can have the vision, you can have the talent, you can have the passion, but you also need a few partners along the way to help guide that and turn it into a reality. So next I would like to invite the Economic Development Authority for the City of Atlanta, known as Invest Atlanta's Strategic and International Programs Manager, Lori Prickett. In a past life, or in a few lives, Lori worked for the British Embassy and the British Consulate, where she oversaw the trade and investment portfolios. After that, we will also be welcoming Maya Jackson, who oversees business and retention and expansion.
She's the manager for this activity at Invest Atlanta. So with that, Lori, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. So thank you, Vanessa, for that. So yes, a bit of history with Vanessa and I. Worked for the Department for International Trade. So I have an interesting perspective coming here. I was once a client. I was once someone on the international side that engaged with our amazing partners within the city of Atlanta. One of those partners was Invest Atlanta. Working with a British company that wanted to come to Atlanta, I got to engage with Invest Atlanta. And they were an amazing organization. So when this opportunity came up and I was able to join the team, I jumped to rep the ATL. So for me, I'm very excited by that opportunity. With that in mind, let's talk about opportunities. So obviously, next slide, please. We're going to talk about how to get a City of Atlanta business license, what that gives you access to that businesses have no idea about, and also some of the content from those websites. Next slide, please. So just a heads up, Invest Atlanta is the Economic Development Authority for the City of Atlanta, and we're committed to strengthening Atlanta's economy and global competitiveness. So we are investing in companies. We are investing our time and our energy and our commitment to the City of Atlanta and its growing businesses. Next, please. So, how do we start this? The journey begins with a City of Atlanta business license. Question, how many people have City of Atlanta business licenses? Love it. So you all know the joys that come with that. So this is just an avenue of where to begin this process with the Office of Revenue. Next slide, because what that will take you to is ATL Core. And what you'll do is just up on the top right-hand corner, you will do login and register your City of Atlanta business. And what this does is, I've given you some kind of step-by-step points here about where to click, where to access a business category, and then how to upload relevant documents, the processing times, and how to pay and how the process works. Now, what does this give you access to? For me, I always say it's the key to the city. Next slide, please. We have an amazing program called ATL in Business. Raise your hand if you've ever been on ATL in Business. I want those hands to be all raised by the next time we come to this session, because ATL in Business is a phenomenal platform that offers businesses with a City of Atlanta business license access to resources and processes, and small businesses can connect with consultants, they can connect with a range of, I would say, expertise in areas like marketing, accounting, legal. Basically, this is a platform to help develop your business, to grow your business, and people have no idea these resources are there at no cost. I repeat, no cost. Next slide, please. Eligibility. So this is just a breakdown, just for your view. I won't waste your time with this. So we want to go through, you hold a 2023 City of Atlanta business license. You provide that you have 2023 credibility with the Secretary of State, that you have 250 employees or less, and you can attest that you've had financial hardship because of the pandemic. Next slide, please. And then a non-profit business as well. Similar things there, but also provide your IRS determination letter. Next slide, please. So our business consultants, these are a list of our partnering business consultants that offer their expertise and guidance throughout this process to our businesses. Next slide, please. So, for example, if you'd like support from the Atlanta Black Chambers, you can go into there and you can connect with them, and this gives their criteria for the kind of inquiries that they can support you with. So you can book time with them and get some access there. Next slide, please. Also, the Latin American Chamber of Commerce of Georgia and what they support you with as well, technical assistance, one-on-one consulting. And the biggest thing here is the access to capital preparedness. That's a really important thing to be aware of. And more so is they're trying to get you to get an understanding from the outset of your business that we want to make you grow and we want to be part of your growth plans and know that the city is there to support you. Next slide, please. Another is Urban League of Greater Atlanta, who are an amazing organization full and specifically on the entrepreneurship piece, which is really important to Invest Atlanta and to the city. But more importantly, Vanessa spoke about the Year of the Youth, and they specifically look at youth and young adult services as well. So the commitment is there as well. Next slide, please. And then Zane Access, which is incredible. They have a capital readiness program for startups and businesses that's fantastic. And founder forum, so you can learn from other founders that have had the similar experience in their growth. Mentorship is key, learning from others, what went wrong, that accurate kind of on-the-ground information that you don't get from most people. What worked for them, what didn't work for them. I think that one-on-one consultancy is key for you because you get what these are business owners. You want to hear from other business owners and get the real life kind of down low about what's going on. Next slide, please. So how to connect with a business consultant. Next slide, please. This is the homepage of ATL in Business, so you'll know where to go, start and grow your business, and find a consultant. Next slide, please. And then this is how you book your appointment. And then also here, next slide, this is where you can tailor your inquiries. So say, for instance, you already have the marketing piece all taken care of, but maybe you need a little bit of marketing guidance or you need a bit of legal guidance. This is where you can tailor your inquiries, and it brings up those relevant partners that can be able to assist you further. Next, please. And then this is particularly when you click on the service that you want and the service provider here, you can fill out your name and your business and you'll get a confirmation of the appointment. Next slide, please. So again, let's reiterate. If you have a City of Atlanta business license for 2023, this is no cost to you, no cost of all this business consultancy. And then also, what we have at Invest Atlanta, we've got amazing Invest Atlanta hubs at Atlanta Tech Village, iVillage at MLK, Pittsburgh Yards, Mary Parker Foundation, Goodwill of North Georgia, Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, and Coda at Tech Square. So we have built-in small business advisors there to speak with you, our amazing small business team and advocates. We're there for you. Next, please. More than anything, I just want you to know what this tells all of you, and I hope the message it delivers is, we want to be part of your growth and your stories. The whole point of Atlanta is that we move forward together. I hate when people just say, oh, that's something we just say. No, I certainly believe in it. Atlanta's given so much to me, Georgia State grad here. I'm an immigrant. I've moved forward, and for me, working with Invest Atlanta and giving these opportunities to these businesses to grow our city, it's my way of paying it forward. So for me, this is an amazing opportunity. I hope you go through and you look at how we can support you as well, because one day I want you to reach out to the economic development team and say, my place is a little too small and I'm ready to expand, or you'll say, find me a bigger space because I'm blowing up, and then I'll say, I'm happy to help you, and the economic development team are here for you. This is our commitment to you and for our commitment to the city, and I'm not just saying that, we're here for you and we're excited about the opportunities this will present and support you with. Thank you so much. And just as a little heads up, I will be leaving a little bit earlier because my team is giving an ethics session, so I don't want to miss out on that. However, if you'd like to contact me directly, send me a LinkedIn message, or also you can email me, lprickett@investatlanta.com. But thank you so much for this opportunity.
Hello, good morning, or good afternoon almost at this point. I know you all are tired of raising your hand, but I'm just going to start off by saying, how many small businesses in the room do we have that supply a good or a service? Okay, we're in the right space. It sounds like I need to start my business so I can be with you guys. I'm Maya Jackson. I'm the Business Retention and Expansion Manager here at Invest Atlanta. I work along Lori and Noah, and what I do is I support businesses like yourself. So say you're getting to that point in your business where you're wondering, what's next? How can I get more funding? How can I get more connections? Where do I go from here? What are some opportunities that exist that I may not know about? I'm there to be that connector for you. So I'm excited to announce a new resource. I think it's a save-all, basically. It's called Atlanta in Business Marketplace. So say you, like you said, you supply a good or a service, but you're struggling with visibility. So you have big competitors in the game. You know, you're working against people who have 50, 100 employees, but you want to get your product out there, you want to get your service out there, but you're struggling to find a buyer. You're struggling to make yourself known in the market. This is the resource for you. So Atlanta in Business Marketplace is a place where diverse buyers and suppliers can go, and it's really a tool to help us drive that B2B commerce. We want you to be seen by buyers like the Office of Procurement, by the airport, by Delta, by Home Depot. This is a place where you can go to be seen. So I don't know if anybody here is on a dating app or if you've used Google, but this is basically the dating app for businesses. You can go and you can say, I'm looking for a Black-owned catering service on this side of town. Somebody can find you that way. So you put in all of your certifications, all of your qualifications, where your business license is registered, and people can find you, you can make connections, you can get contracts. So I know everybody has mentioned equity today, they've mentioned economic growth. This is how we want to drive equity in the city of Atlanta. We want to make sure that all businesses, not just big businesses, but home businesses, people with just 1 or 2 employees, people working out of their house or they're working out of a co-working space, we want to make sure that you all have the chance to be seen, to get revenue, to scale and grow your business. So I have a quick video here, and this will show you how easy it is to get on the portal and to grow and scale your business.
We are pleased to introduce the ATL in Business Marketplace. The Marketplace is a first-of-its-kind e-commerce platform. It is designed with businesses like yours in mind. The Marketplace is Metro Atlanta's hub for driving locally sourced commerce, and it all begins with a simple click. The Marketplace is where your business will gain maximum exposure for smaller, diverse suppliers. This means sharing the best of your company with prospective buyers. Our comprehensive company profile enables you to share real-time information with interested buyers. This includes information about your products and services, diversity classifications, industry certifications, past performance, and much more. The Marketplace will serve both a business-to-business or B2B audience as well as a business-to-consumer or B2C audience. No other metropolitan area has taken B2B supplier growth as seriously as we do. Suppliers often wonder, is the information I'm entering going into a black hole, or is this information going to be sold to third parties? The answer is no. Businesses across the metro area are making the pledge to source locally, and the best way to get in on new local commerce is the ATL in Business Marketplace. When buyers use the Marketplace, they are provided numerous ways to search and organize their pools of qualified suppliers. Suppliers who complete their Marketplace profile are discovered when buyers search by location, capabilities, industry, diversity classifications, and more. Buyers can organize suppliers into private Marketplace lists, and they can even send important broadcast messages to members of their lists. Buyers in the Marketplace can also publicize key sourcing opportunities. The Marketplace is not a replacement for their existing vendor management systems and portals. Instead, we are all about business discovery, matchmaking, and opportunities to meet the most qualified local suppliers. And we're just getting started. The fastest way to benefit from this new means of commerce is to register for a free ATL in Business Marketplace account today. This is a no-cost service to businesses, and your business can join at www.atlinbusiness.com. The City of Atlanta's source of information and resources to plan, start, grow, and manage your business.
So this is what we do at Invest Atlanta. We see a problem, we come up with a solution to help our community solve it. So what we noticed is that a lot of legacy businesses, small businesses, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, they were struggling with visibility. They were struggling making that connection. They were struggling knowing where to go. How do I get connected with buyers? How do I move from B2C to B2B? So this is one of our tools that we have in our pocketbook, along with grants, loans, small business loans, community development, that's down payment assistance, one of our many tools and resources to help your business grow and thrive. And I would be remiss, as they say, if I didn't mention who else makes this possible, and that's our Now Network team, Justin and Jen in the back. We've partnered with them, and they are responsible for the software that allows the marketplace to run. I guess that means they liked it, guys, with that clap. It sounds good. So how many of you had heard of ATL and Business Marketplace before coming here today? Okay, well, I hope all of those businesses who raised their hand and said they supply a good or a service, that you all will now sign up for the portal. We have, I think we've been open for maybe a month now, and things are looking really good. So we hope you would join. And again, my name is Maya Jackson. I can be reached at mjackson@investatlanta.com. And I have business cards as well, and I can answer any questions on behalf of Lori as well once she has to leave, but thank you.
Thank you, Maya, and thank you, Lori. And I also want to acknowledge Noah Downer. He is the interim senior vice president for economic development at Invest Atlanta. So if you want to stand up for just a second, just to say hello. And fun fact, Noah actually used to work for the Mayor's Office of International Affairs in a past life. So it's great to see everything come full circle. So a few things. I'm going to drive Sean crazy as I move away from the podium. How many of you know that we have the second fastest foreign-born population in the nation? Okay? How many do you know that we have about 2,700 international businesses in the Metro Atlanta Chamber? Okay? When we're thinking about the future of work, and I'm sure a lot of you here are wondering what to do about talent. Where do I get this talent? More companies are coming in here. There's going to be the war on talent. There's some positions that need to be filled. And so at the Office of International and Immigrant Affairs, of course, there's the trade component, the international business, the diplomacy, workforce development through education, national security, but there's also the immigrant affairs side of the house. And so in terms of the immigrant affairs side of the house is how do we provide resources and information to our immigrant community to be able to engage directly with the municipality, but also to provide them opportunities for economic mobility, financial stability. And so with that, I would like to pass it over to our partner and our next speaker, Darlene Lynch with the Big Partnership. And just to give you a little bit of background on Darlene, she's an accomplished lawyer and public policy professional with more than 25 years of experience working on social justice and economic empowerment issues at the state, federal, and international levels. She is the founder and chair of the Business and Immigration for Georgia, as I mentioned, the Big Partnership. And it's the first partnership in the state to bring together business and civic leaders committed to strengthening Georgia's economy. Another fun fact, Darlene lived in Geneva, Switzerland. I am telling your whole life to all the folks here. And she worked as an advocate at the United Nations, focused on children's rights. She previously served on the faculty of Emory, Harvard, and Boston University law schools, and began her career as a prosecutor and trial attorney. So with that, Darlene, I'll pass it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am Darlene Lynch, and as Vanessa said, I started the Big Partnership, which is Business and Immigration for Georgia. And we can go to the next slide. The Big Partnership has as its mission, or as our description, a statewide partnership of Georgia business and civic leaders committed to strengthening Georgia's economy, in particular by tapping into our deep pool of talent in our refugee and immigrant communities. It's deep, but it's not fully utilized, and that's an opportunity for Atlanta and for the state. Next slide, please. So the Big Partnership spun off of the Coalition of Refugee Service Agencies. And some of you may have heard of this coalition. It's really refugee and immigrant service agencies. We're the oldest and largest in the state. And we're comprised of more than 24 organizations that work hand in hand with thousands of refugee and immigrant Georgians every year. Our vision is a place where everyone who calls Georgia home is valued, respected, and able to build a successful life. Next slide. So we founded the Big Partnership in 2020. We now have over 36 members, and it's a mix. It's a mix of those refugee and immigrant service agencies, chambers of commerce, businesses, academic institutions, and we're growing all the time. Next slide. You know, so some people said, why did we start big? We started big because Georgia is the #1 state for doing business, and Atlanta is at the center of that. Next slide. But we know, everybody in here knows, that we are facing workforce shortages, just like the rest of the country, and record low unemployment. There are now over 400,000 job openings. One of the reasons Big is growing is because businesses are looking for a new pool of talent, and they are coming to us. Next slide. So this is some facts about the untapped pool of global talent that I'm talking about. 1 in 10 Georgians is an immigrant. But 1 in 7 Georgia workers is an immigrant. 1 in 5 doctors, 1 in 5 STEM professionals, 1 in 3 small business owners. And so you heard from some small business owners here today, immigrants are more than 40% more likely to open a business in Georgia. They are the engine of Georgia's small business community. Next slide. And here are some things that we know. We know that nearly half are already naturalized U.S. citizens. We know that they have high levels of education, a large number of them do, and they possess language skills that can help companies that other Georgians may lack. And we know that more than 60,000 have come to Georgia in the last 30, 40 years as refugees. And these are individuals who left behind jobs in healthcare and IT and construction, places where we have openings here today because of war and conflict. Many of these facts here today are little known by our elected officials and also by our business communities, and that is one thing we go around and talk about. We don't necessarily have to bring new folks in. We have a pool of global talent right here in Georgia that grows every single year. So the next slide, please. One thing that makes Georgia as diverse as it is, and Georgia is one of the most culturally diverse states in the nation, is that we have long been a top state for refugee resettlement. Georgia has a history of welcome. We have welcomed thousands of people every single year for the past 40 or so years. And they have come from all parts of the world. This was our New American celebration last week, where we had 300 people come out in support of our refugee and immigrant communities, including lawmakers and the governor and his wife. The next slide, please. The past 2 years, we have welcomed many fleeing war in Afghanistan and Ukraine. And these have been really horrific crises, humanitarian crises, and Georgia has once again stepped up to provide home and safety and a new beginning for these individuals. We are now seeing a lot of the business community interested in hiring from these new wave of immigrants, many of whom, is particularly on the Afghan side, have worked with the U.S. for many, many years and speak English and understand the American way of doing business. We have corporations here in Atlanta that have been dedicated to hiring from the Afghan community, including Accenture, for example, with really great results. Next slide. The problem we have, and one of the reasons I'm here today, is what we call brain waste. And probably any of folks who are here who have moved here from another country know that it is hard to get back into your field. Too many people who come here with skills and talents that we need are working in lower paid, lower skilled jobs than they could. and that's costing us millions of dollars in lost wages. As I was saying to Vanessa, every day we ship our new global talent out of the metro area to places like Gainesville for low-wage, minimum wage jobs at poultry plants and other places. Next slide. So the big partnership has 5 objectives. The first one is to remove barriers to employment for skilled immigrants, and we're doing some licensing reform. And there's some legislation going through the state right now to help clinicians re-enter practice here in Georgia. We're also working on improving access to education, and that's absolutely what we need for the jobs of the future. And we have some tuition bills that are now in the state level to help refugees and immigrants and DACA recipients get the training they need to get into the pipeline and to serve the businesses. Next slide. We're looking at ways to boost the rural economy. In many states, refugees and immigrants have been the way that rural communities are revived. That's not happened too much here in Georgia yet. And we're looking at similar programs, and I'm going to steal ideas from the previous speakers, to help refugee and immigrant small business owners open their business and sustain their business. Next slide. One of the things we really want to do is create an office of Global Georgia. Other states have done this, including other Republican-controlled states. We bring in global business, but we need global talent. How do we match those two together? Right? We have people who speak Korean. We have people who have experience in Afghanistan. How do we match those folks with good jobs in Georgia? Some states, like the Office of Global Michigan and in Ohio, have programs that are actually recruiting skilled immigrants into those states and reviving their economies. We can do the same. Next slide. I'm not going to go through this, but if anybody is interested, I'm happy to share some of the accomplishments that we've had in the past several years. And I like to say that we're really growing a movement, a global talent movement in Georgia that's really bipartisan, right? It's really about what is good for Georgia, what is good for Atlanta. How do we maximize the global talent that we have right now in our state? In the next slide. So this is just a 50-second slide of an event that we did recently right here in downtown Atlanta. So that's all I have, but I want to invite everybody. As I said, we are an organization of dozens of individual agencies, and we can help connect global talent to business. We're here. We have some partners here in the room, including from the International Rescue Committee. So please do reach out to us and consider joining the big partnership. And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Irene. So, the moment has come for Q&A. If everybody can kind of help me out with a drum roll. I would like to ask Jaideep to come to the front. Kevin, if you can come to the front as well. But what we're going to be doing for the Q&A is you see 2 microphones, one there and one here. The reason being is because we're also live streaming this event, and we want to make sure that the folks that are connected online are able to also see you and hear your questions and the answers. If for whatever reason you feel shy or unable to get to one of the microphones, we were happy to grab it and bring it to you. But now let's go ahead and move forward with any questions that you all may have, and whoever raises their hand first and comes to the microphone gets the first question. Right there, if you can go, ma'am. Thank you so much. And for those that have a question, feel free to start lining up to the microphone so we can get through the questions quicker. And please, when you introduce yourself and then ask the question and who you would like to answer the question.
My name is Rita Dannenberg, and we've been doing business, small business, in city of Atlanta since 1999. And we had a roller coaster life, you know, going up, going down, and never a steady business. So my question is, right now, we are like sinking. My question is now for the city of Atlanta, and do they realize or see the effect of post-pandemic COVID? And if they see it and realize it, what they're doing about it?
Do you want to answer? Okay, I can definitely answer that question for you. During pandemic, we had a little bit up and down, not a little bit, you know, a bit of up and down. But I think as we come out of pandemic, we are seeing a huge growth. And just to talk about the number of projects that we're doing, I think in 2021, we almost did 145 or, you know, projects or something of that sort. And in the last 6 months, we have done around 140 plus projects. So in a year and a half, we did 145. Now in 6 months, we are doing 145. So you can see there's a growth that's happening. And the growth is all tied to moving Atlanta forward. When I talk about opportunities, when I talk about creating a city for the future, we are taking deliberate steps to make sure that we are gearing the city for the 21st century.
And if I may add that as well, in terms of the international piece for the trade and welcoming delegations, and so what we have seen an increase, a drastic increase, and now what we're also seeing is that now that there is this hybrid world, you're actually being able to connect with more businesses across various cities and countries. Now, is it a challenge? Yes, as people starting to get back into the groove of things, if you will, but we're there to support in any way that we can. And every business is different. Everybody's going to be facing different challenges. So that's an opportunity for us to connect directly with you and let us know if your business is down right now, what is the reason for it to be down? Is it talent? Is it partnerships? That's what we would need to know to really get to the core of the issue in order to be able to provide solutions. And sometimes they have to be innovative in nature. But I think also Invest Atlanta, Maya, I think that'd be a great opportunity for you to also provide some feedback in terms of all the businesses that are coming in, looking for resources, grants, funding from Invest Atlanta, and what you may be seeing right now, post-pandemic. And then if you want to come here on this microphone, actually, that might be helpful.
So post-pandemic, the main need we're seeing, honestly, is funding. People need funding. They don't need spaces, but they just need money. So they need money to pay their employees. They need money to keep their business alive. They need money to provide health benefits. So we do that in a variety of ways. I know we have Wells Fargo Open for Business. So if you have a physical space, we have a commercial down payment assistance program. So that's the first kind of program, I think, in the metro region. So where you see it for commercial property, we will help you purchase your own property. So say you've been renting for 10 plus years and you want to own your space, right? Because our goal is to generate wealth, is to have equity. We want you to be able to pass that space down to your children. We'll help you purchase a property. Or say you have a restaurant or a hair salon and you want to make improvements to that property. We also have the commercial property improvement grant. So we're really trying to help businesses do anything they can to stay afloat and adjust to the new economy and the new uncertainty.
Thank you, Maya. And I will move on to the next question. And again, remember to please introduce yourself and ask the question.
Hello, everyone. My name is April Hatcher. I'm the owner of Sweet Baby Cheesecake and Treats. I'm a Georgia Baptist baby and a Clark Atlanta University alum, so Atlanta has always been home. I have two small questions. One is with the hubs that were talked about earlier, what exactly are the benefits and how can we go about making sure that we use those benefits to the full extent? And also, as someone who believes in bootstrapping and just refuse to get a loan. Do you think that it's possible to really grow my business to the extent that I would like without looking for loans?
That's a great question. So I'll first answer your question about the hubs. I think Lori listed about 5 hubs that we have around the city. So those are some of our partners: the Russell Innovation Center, Mary Parker Center, Goodwill, Pittsburgh Yards, iVillage. Those are places where Invest Atlanta staff is located. We have people there full-time, and I think Atlanta Tech Village is one more. We have people there full-time to come in for any questions you may have. So if you have a question about a program that we have or a service that we offer, you just kind of want to talk to one of us, we're at all of those locations. I think another way to utilize those locations, all of them are actually like co-working or innovation or entrepreneurship spaces. So if you wanted to become a member on your own and just have that community, have people who are like-minded, where they can support your ideas. I know all of them do events and programmings. That's the way you could utilize that as well. And then remind me your second question again.
Bootstrapping.
Sure. I will say our small business loans are a bit different than traditional loans you see on the market. So our interest rates are anywhere from 1 to 3%. You're not going to get that from a regular bank or a regular lender. So that's our whole purpose, is to provide those low-cost, low-interest loans. And I think some of them eventually turn into grants. I don't want to speak out of turn. I'm not on the small business team, but some of them even turn into grants. And at Invest Atlanta, our funding comes from different sources. So at different times, we may have grants. I know everybody in here has probably heard of Resurgence, but that was our really big last round of grants where businesses could get up to $40,000. So the best thing you can do is stay in tune. So when we announce those grants, that way you don't have to get a loan, you can know about the grant opportunities.
Thank you.
And just to quickly add, you don't know what you don't know, right? So there's all these hubs, there's all these different resources, and at least for the loans and grants from Invest Atlanta, there are hundreds. So navigating that and again, seeing what makes sense for your business is key. So network, that's what we always tell everybody, network, 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 go to all the events because you never know when an opportunity could come. So we're gonna move to this side over here. Yes, go ahead, Jeanette. And having these champions as well. So I see some folks here on the right. Please feel free to, again, ask your question.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. My name is Miguel Blanco. My company is called Corporate Medicare Solutions. But my question is very simple. Just wanted to know, for the pre-bid proposals, will those be in person or online?
Those are all virtual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stand on the mic.
It's okay. Yeah, sorry. We're limited on mics.
Yeah, so those are all either on Zoom or Teams. So they're all virtual. We do not have in-person pre-bids.
The question is if it's going to be in person because it's been virtual.
For pre-bid conferences. I'm not going to say yes or no. We don't have a space currently to safely host those in person like we used to pre-pandemic, but I don't think any of us are opposed to going back to having them once we renovate our space downstairs and have a space that we could do that. Certainly keep that in mind.
Let me add on to what Kevin just said. We are not opposed to, having in-person pre-bid meetings. It's just that we have to work through the logistics to make sure that we can capture a wider audience in a defined space. That also means that, do we have site visits in some of the RFPs? The answer is yes. We do have site visits so that you can visually see what you're bidding on. And I think site visits are critical because that helps you to put forward an accurate bid. And we want, competitiveness. We need accurate bids. We want to be transparent. And these are some of the ways that we are trying to handle to get things, done and make it beneficial for the suppliers.
We are also launching quarterly roundtable and supplier focus groups that are going to be in person. So don't feel like pre-bids is the only networking avenue. There will be a lot of events like this here and then events by industry that we're going to be rolling out. So follow us because we're going to announce those very soon, and those will be another great networking that are
So we'll take one more question from this side, and then we'll take one here from the audience, and we'll go back to the microphone here on the left. So please, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm a little taller than the mic, but hi everybody, my name is Nina, and I'm actually a native of Atlanta, born at Piedmont Hospital. I'm a former public school teacher as well, and I do have a business with the city of Atlanta. I love Invest Atlanta. I've participated in 3 cohorts for small businesses, so I've grown a lot. I have a lot more confidence, I have a lot more information, and as you mentioned, you don't know what you don't know. My question, hopefully is for other people, but for myself, what I would benefit greatly from is being in contact with somebody one-on-one. I wanted to know who from the city of Atlanta and or Invest Atlanta or whichever department can we reach out to and speak to, email directly so that I can sit down with someone just to kind of, the idea for me is to just make sure that my business is 100% ready to submit a request for proposal. You know what I mean? I know that you have to have many, many things aligned other than just submitting the proper things that they're looking for in the request for proposal. Your business has to be set up the right way, and you need to have certain things in place. So I wanted to know who that person or that department is that I could reach out to directly to sit down with someone and really just kind of go through and get those questions answered specifically.
Thank you for that question. And let me try to dissect that question. It seems like there are 2 questions in one statement. So the first question is about business ready. You know, are you business ready to do business with City of Atlanta? And I think the answer that lies with Invest Atlanta is Invest Atlanta is going to work with you to make sure you are business ready to do business with City of Atlanta. Once you are business ready, the second step is how do I prepare myself to bid on projects that City of Atlanta has? And that's where I think Department of Procurement comes in, and we will work with you hand in hand to make sure you understand the requirements to do business with City of Atlanta, the forms that you need, the documentations that you need to get ready as a supplier to bid on city projects. Now, having said that, I keep on stressing the fact that do visit the website atlsupplies.com. That will give you very good information about what's needed to do business with City of Atlanta. Now, if you have further questions, we have Jan Rivers, who's sitting there. She's waving at you. Reach out to her, make sure you exchange that information, and she'll be more than happy to help you navigate through that process. Does that answer your question?
And I just want to kind of add to that, ATL in Business, our technical assistance provider, that is exactly what they're there for. So they're an extension of Invest Atlanta. They're familiar with all of our programs, and I think some of them actually specify in helping you apply for grants, helping you get ready for grants. So go to them. We are managing a program now, and a lot of the things that we're seeing, people don't have a business license. They don't have a Secretary of State registration, or they have it, it's not active. If they're a single person LLC, they don't have bylaws, and we need to see their bylaws. So those are all things to think about just in passing to get prepared for when opportunities come up with these different organizations.
It's good to see you.
And just to add very quickly, if you're interested in taking your business global for female entrepreneurs, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a partnership with UPS, and on April 12th at RISE, we'll actually be having a lot of different speakers to come and talk about how you can take your business internationally, whether it's through e-commerce, whether it's through Exim Bank, whether it's through SBDC. So there's a lot of opportunities, and in our team, we do have somebody that can speak with you, and along with the U.S. Commercial Service to see whether or not you are ready to also take your business elsewhere. So happy to help out with that as well. We do have a question here in the audience.
Yes, so my name is Rolf Royer. So my first name is Dutch, and my second name is French. So I have a French-Dutch heritage. And I came here as a CEO in the aviation industry for a German French company. I just finished end of December. I had 2 choices. Go back to Europe, the old place where I was, and or stay here. But I decided to stay here for much more time because I have a lot of tools and skill sets that I want to deliver here in this country. So I just started my consulting company. So I was raised in Paris. I'm coming from Europe. So Paris is a city of lights. And what I want to do also is to bring the lights that I discovered in Paris here in this place, in Georgia, and also here in Atlanta, because I have the feeling that there is a lot to do here. And this is a reason why I started my business consulting company in aviation. My major is supply chain and logistics. And I want to bring, I'm preparing a conference in the next future, coming days, and I call it how Georgia can bring sustainability and innovation, design in the aviation industry and new mobility. But my question is here. I just started my consulting company. I don't know where to go. Where can I find my network, my peers? I know them from the aviation industry, but here in Atlanta, I don't know how to do it. So this is my question.
Okay.
Where's my first step to start my journey?
So you established a consulting company, and now you're looking for other folks that are within the aerospace and aviation industry to be able to connect and then have more conversations on how to promote the city of Atlanta business opportunities from France.
Exactly,
So
because
business
I want
attraction.
to attract French companies here, because I've seen that German are here, other countries are here, and there is a lot to do also with France to bring investment in that place, in this place.
So there's a lot of opportunities, and I'll tackle that one real quick. What's great here is also you have about 72 countries with a diplomatic presence and about 31 binational chambers of commerce. So of course, working with the French-American Chamber of Commerce, the Metro Atlanta Chamber, the Georgia Department of Economic Development, and Invest Atlanta. So our office, we welcome about 100 delegations a year from over 60 different countries. All of them are interested in doing business. So if anybody's interested in meeting with foreign companies or other organizations, there is a publication known as globalatlanta.com. Go in there, there's a lot of events, networking opportunities. Now, of course, we can provide some collateral from Georgia Power, Invest Atlanta, Georgia Department of Economic Development, Metro Atlanta Chamber, and our office that can be provided. And what we do also are virtual sessions where we promote the ecosystem of the city of Atlanta to folks that may be interested. Now, are there aviation or aerospace specific events coming up? We would have to check with the airport, but I also know there's institutions and organizations that are focused on that specific topic. And so it would be great for you to identify those that do so, but the Georgia Department of Economic Development has a person that oversees that, so they will be able to do the connection.
And let me add to what Vanessa just said. We do have an industry day coming up for suppliers at the airport. We'll be more than happy to extend that invitation. We'll provide you all the details about that event. I think it's next month, maybe around the 20th of March. Don't know the exact date, but it'll be a great opportunity for you to meet with other suppliers that support aviation in that forum. The second piece is, I want to learn more from you. In other words, what do you do? So that I can then slot you in the right bucket. So for me to know you, take the first step of going through the supply registration. Make sure you reach out to Jan Rivers. She knows, what you offer. And based on what you offer, perhaps if there's an opportunity that comes to our mind, we can then take your information and I can sit down with the general manager for Atlanta Airport, Balram Biodari, and have a discussion that these are some of the suppliers that can do specific work that can help us grow the business and help us moving Atlanta forward. March 23rd? March 21st is the industry day. So for the airlines, for aviation, we have March 21st as the industry day. We are inviting all the suppliers to come over. We are going to talk about all the airport projects, what's in the horizon, what's on the horizon, and what to look for going forward.
All right, so I know we're out of time here, but I want to do is, I said we could have time for one more question. I know Paulina's looking at me saying we're on time and we're going to make sure that everybody networks. There's a few questions here. I'm going to give you all 10 seconds to ask your question, and then stick around because all the speakers are still here so you can connect with them during the networking portion of the event. So if you have 10 to 15 seconds to ask your question, and then we'll be sure to connect you with all.
I don't know if this is on. Okay. My name is Fumilayo Balogun. I'm a restaurant owner, African restaurant owner. And the other lady that spoke, in fact, she actually spoke my mind. It is confusing on how to go from one level to the other. My interest is to have a restaurant at the airport, an African restaurant, which I think is not there, and there's a market base for it. Where do I go from here? I've been on this for over 2 years, and there's still no answer to my questions. I really appreciate if, somebody can help.
So Jaideep and I can take that question during the networking session. Thank you for your question. 10 to 15 seconds.
Mina Levine with the Chamber of Eco-Commerce, President, CEO, and also Chair of the Nordic Business Council, USA. My question is, I understand that doing business with the City of Atlanta, you have to be in Atlanta or registered with the City of Atlanta. There's hundreds of Nordic companies that are interested in learning about doing business with the City of Atlanta or your business is located here. How do we do that? I understand you have your sister city programs and so forth, but how could we direct these companies to the City of Atlanta to learn? So what are those opportunities? Why they should enter the market?
So we can provide that answer. So it'll be Jaideep, myself, and Maya that can provide an answer to that question. Next question, and sorry guys, I just want to make sure that we get to your questions and then you all can network. Yes.
Yes. Oh, too tall for me. Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Johnson, founder and CEO of Restoring One Slope of Atlanta. And my question is, do you all have grants specifically for minorities that are running nonprofit organizations?
Yes. So Maya will be able to provide an answer to that question. Next question, we'll go right over here.
I think it's a straight answer, yes.
Yes.
Right over here. Hello, everyone. My name is Shalandra Gurley. I'm representing two businesses. One is Autism Glows, and the second one is my Sweet STEM Enrichment Program. So I know we've been talking about a lot of first steps, like what do we do, because I know that I'm trying to figure out what do I need to do first to be able to move forward and be able to do business here in Atlanta, but also what are some words of encouragement that you all can give? And also I'm an educator, so what are some things that you all can give us to move forward?
I'll give you plenty of encouragement. Trust me.
And the first step, what do I do
first? We'll definitely answer that question for you and provide you the next steps.
We'll connect you and we'll talk offline. Yes?
Hello, Sonia Howard, business coach in the community. I am finding that with all of these contracts with the city, because my jurisdiction with my franchise is all of Atlanta, South Atlanta, is that for business coaching without being a competition of Invest Atlanta, ATL, how am I able to bid on some of these contracts? I've been told that there is a professional service section for the contracts, or I'm just trying to figure out. What I've been finding is that I haven't been able to bid on anything directly because there is no space for professional services.
We'll answer that question for you. We have plenty of bids that goes out under professional services, HR, and IT. Depending on what's your focus, we'll answer that question for you.
All right, perfect. Next question.
Good afternoon. My name is JoJo St. Clair. I am founder of District of Her, and my question is specifically around startups like myself being able to partner with the Office of Procurement. It sounds like they're more downstream, business-ready corporations that are able to partner and respond to RSPs. How do you see yourself being able to create more of a fertile environment for startups like myself who run basically a training platform where HGTV meets LinkedIn for women working from home? I'm early stage, and I'd love to be able to have you on my brochure so that I can say I'm doing business with the city, invest in my company. But sometimes the big fish kind of has to come first. So what's that posture like?
Sure, we'll answer those questions for you, and I think Vanessa and me can answer them.
Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, if you haven't seen that, look into that because it's an incredible initiative that only the City of Atlanta leads. Next question and final question. Thank you so much.
My question is for Maya. So we serve more than 40,000 people, Latinos basically, and empower Latinas creating businesses. So we have served more than 7,000 Latinas that have created businesses in Atlanta. So as a Latin American association, and we have more than 50 years in the city, how we can support and make an alliance with you guys and work together to support the Latino community, because we want to keep doing this strong commitment and helping, especially women, to grow and bring their businesses and ideas to this city. So how we can partner up with you, and I'm looking forward to talk to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you all. This brings today's event to a conclusion. As I mentioned, this is the very first. We will be sending out the date for the next one. We just have to figure out exactly when and make all the speakers to be available. So thank you so much for your commitment. Thank you so much for your interest in doing business with the city of Atlanta. And please don't be strangers. And everything you've learned today, share it with everyone you know. Because I want this room to be double the size for the next event. So with that, and I know we had some questions from the live stream that we were doing. We're going to make sure to answer those questions after the event. Thank you all.
Yeah, and before we just disperse, on behalf of the 61st Mayor, Andrew Dickens, and the cabinet members, we thank you for attending this program. So heartfelt thanks, and looking forward to growing together with you.
Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you all. All right?
How are you? Absolutely, yes.